All right, welcome back, True Seeker. Want to talk about tonight's NFL start, the Hall of Fame game, and I want to talk about two of the men who were honored who recently died. Nick B of the Boston Patriots once upon a time, and the Miami Dolphins, of course, the Patriots who just won the last Super Bowl, and the Dolphins who will be hosting Super Bowl 54. And also Pat Bowlen of the Denver Broncos, who died June 13th. Nick B just died July 30th. So notice Nick B died at age 78. We're going to get to why that matters. He died July 30th, 7:30. And the news was announced yesterday, July 31st, an interesting date that can be written 31/7, like 317. 317 is the 66th prime number. NFL equals 66. If you add 1 through 11 together, it equals 66. Football's a game of 11 on 11, the master number. 31 is also the 11th prime number, the day of the news, but he had died a day prior. And take a peek at this. He was born December 15th. He died July 30th. And from his last birthday, his 78th, to his death was 227 days later. 227 is the 49th prime number. We'll get to why that matters. Also, from his death to the upcoming Super Bowl was 187 days. So 227 days after his birthday, 187 to the Super Bowl. And here's why it matters. American football is credited to the Scottish Rite Freemason Walter Camp. And the Masonic headquarters in Washington, D.C. is the ancient accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. That's what's etched on the building. And notice that sums to 187 and 227. 227 is also the 49th prime number. And notice Scottish equals 49, as does NFL. The day he died, July 30th, 2019, was a date with a life lesson number of 49. So he died on a date with 49 numerology, 227 days after his birthday, the 49th prime, and then he's honored at this Hall of Fame game to start the NFL season. And again, he played for the Patriots, who won the last Super Bowl, and Miami, who will be hosting the upcoming Super Bowl. He was a two-time Super Bowl winner himself. Now, as for dying at age 78, notice Scottish Rite equals 78, and his name, Nick B, the name is 159, just like Scottish Rite. For a little bit more relevance to 49, Washington, D.C. is named after the Scottish Rite Freemason George Washington. Washington also equals 49, as does America. A nation that's always had a lot of Masonic influence, especially the Scottish Rite. It's also a nation that has a lot of Jesuit influence as well. And we're going to get to that in our next death. Pat Bowlen, who was also honored tonight. So, Pat Bowlen was born on the 49th day of the year, February 18th. He died June 13th. He died 115 days after his birthday, a number that shows up around suspicious deaths often. Masonic and killing both equal 115. John F. Kennedy was killed in the middle of Dealey Plaza, named after a Scottish Rite Freemason, and he died on a date with 115 numerology, 11/22/1963. 11 plus 22 plus 19 plus 63, 115. Now, from Bowlen's death, June 13th, to the Hall of Fame game, which his team won tonight, was 49 days later. And again, NFL's 49, Scottish 49. Both of these men's deaths talked about in tonight's game. And not to gloat too much, but I got to let it be known I'm already 2 for 2 on my NFL picks for the season. Of course, on Patreon, I spend way too much of my life decoding sports for all the gamblers out there, and they really wanted me to decode the game and give them some picks, so I gave them 2 picks for tonight's game. Broncos to win in tribute to Pat Bowlen and John Elway, and for the game to be on the under. I thought the score might be 33 points because this was a rematch of Super Bowl 33, but instead you get 24 points, which was still the under, and that's all it needed to be, was under 34. So, look at this. You want to know how rigged the preseason is? if you sign up for my Patreon and watch today's live stream, you can see this in real time. But before we even got to the fact that it was 34 days from John Elway's birthday, I was talking about how Super Bowl 33 was won by the Broncos over the Falcons, and John Elway was the MVP, and I was talking about how the Broncos won with 34 points, and how Falcons equals 34, and Atlanta Falcons equals 139, the 34th prime, and how the Patriots had the rigged Super Bowl against the Falcons the other year, beating them with 34. And I said, I wonder how many days it is from John Elway's birthday. So in the live stream where we were talking about this, we plugged it in and we all had to laugh together. It was 34 days after his birthday. Notice it was also 1 month and 4 days, a lot like the 14 points they won with, which we'll get to. There's more to that score. But of course it was 34 days after his birthday. Again, Atlanta Falcons is 139, the 34th prime. Falcons is 25 and 34. And you want to know both numbers, don't forget what happened in Super Bowl 51. That's where the Patriots beat the Falcons with the 25-point comeback, and they beat them 34-31 in overtime. Or excuse me, 34-28 in overtime. 25-point comeback. That was the 97th NFL season. 97 is the 25th prime number. It's why they moved the touchback to 25 yards that year. But I want to remind people about this. Lady Gaga did the halftime show that year for the Super Bowl. And notice her birthday, March 28th. The Patriots were down 28-3 in that game, down 25 points when they started their comeback. Notice Lady Gaga's 31 like Houston, where the Super Bowl was that year. Also, from the Super Bowl, which was on February 5th that year, 2-5, the 25-point comeback. The AFC won its 25th Super Bowl. Tom Brady became 5-2 in Super Bowls. Again, couldn't have been scripted anymore. Wish my main channel was still up because the video I did on the Super Bowl had over 300,000 views. And reading the comments was hilarious because I got trolled so hard during the game because I guaranteed the Patriots would win. It would be all about 25. And when they were down 25 points, the whole world was making fun of me. But all those people who made fun, they didn't come back to post once the Patriots came back and won. Anyway, Super Bowl 51 was 51 days from Lady Gaga's birthday, of course. And she was born in 86. You know, Deflategate is 86, Symbols 86, Triangles 86, Pyramids 86. Remember, the Broncos dethroned the Deflategate team. And by the way, Broncos equals 86. They scored their winning touchdown tonight in the game with a minute 26 on the clock. That's 86 seconds, by the way. Again, Broncos 86. So anyway, same repetitive numbers. The Falcons have lost two Super Bowls by these numbers. Tonight's game, 34 days after John Elway's birthday. Again, the MVP of Super Bowl 33, where the Falcons beat the Broncos 34-19. That game was in Miami as well. And, you know, tonight they're honoring the death of the NFL player associated with Miami as well. Now, something else we talked about in the live stream today was Drew Lock, the rookie quarterback who got the start tonight because Joe Flacco sat out. And think about Joe Flacco going from Baltimore to Denver. Isn't that what John Elway did? He went from Baltimore Colts to Denver Broncos. Anyway, this quarterback's name was Andrew Stephen Lock. And notice that sums to 76. Denver had not won a Hall of Fame game since 1976 before tonight. Not since 1976. By the way, this guy was the 42nd overall pick out of Missouri. Missouri equals 42. But for another kicker, Matt Ryan, from his birthday to tonight's game was 76 days for another 76. And again, the Broncos hadn't won since 76. Now, 1976 to 2019 is 43 years later, and Colorado equals 43 like football. And by the way, Yale equals 43 as well. Walter Camp, the Scottish Rite Freemason, went to Yale. He was likely a member of Skull and Bones as well. And 43 is the 14th prime number, just like how the game was 1 month and 4 days after Elway's birthday, just like how the Broncos won with 14 points tonight. And I've shown many times before how the NFL synced up with the Pope. Many times. And let's just go over some reminders, because tonight's game I have no doubt was synced up with the Pope as well. Even this first game, the Hall of Fame game, notice from the Pope's birthday to tonight's game was a span of 139 days. And again, Atlanta Falcons is 139, the team that was essentially the sacrifice tonight. Think about the Falcons' colors, red and black, like the Jesuit colors. Pope Francis is the first publicly Jesuit pope. If you go back, Pope Francis blessed Super Bowl 51. I don't think the Pope has ever blessed a Super Bowl before, but he blessed the Super Bowl that the Falcons lost in. And the Falcons owner, Arthur Blank, he has the Jesuit order's birthday. Arthur Blank's born September 27th, the Jesuit formation date, September 27th. Just like Arthur Blank's birthday. And look at this. Andrew Stephen Locke, the full name of the quarterback who won for the Broncos tonight, his name's 266, like how Pope Francis is the 266th Pope, and he's the first publicly Jesuit Pope. The Jesuit logo is the IHS. The IHS is Latin. What the words representing Gematria is 266, also 122. Pope Francis, the 266th Pope. Pope Francis equals 122. See how perfect it all is? Remember, Pope Francis became Pope March 13th, 2013. 3/13/13. 3's the second prime number, 13's the sixth prime number, 13's the sixth prime number. The 266th Pope. And as a reminder about the Broncos and the Jesuits and the Pope, last year on the Jesuit order's birthday, September 27th, Jake Butt tore his ACL. And you have to recall the joke with the Pope, the Denver Broncos, and Jake Butt. Jake Butt played college football at Michigan. The day before the draft, his coach, Jim Harbaugh, went to meet the Pope. And Jake Butt was supposed to go in the first round, but instead he fell all the way to the 145th pick. And why? Because Catholic is 145. Notice Michigan, where he went to school, is 46 like Catholic. And further, where did I put it at? It must be here somewhere. What in the world? Denver Broncos is 71 like Catholic as well. Again, this is why you have to know the 4 base ciphers to see how they are all used. Again, the 4 base ciphers, the alphabetic order with the rules of numerology, the reverse alphabetic order with the rules of numerology. You see how that goes? Denver Broncos 71, Catholic 145, Jake Butt. Think about what he is. He's a tight end with the name Butt, the Catholic Church, boys in tights. Think about how sick this is. Manchurian athletes, a web of deceit from the Vatican to the football field. This is really how rigged up these people have the whole world. Truly. We prove it game after game, season after season, year after year. You know, go back and see what I showed about the Pope in last year's NFL season. The games on Christopher Columbus Day, the Saints, the first team to reach 8-2 on the Pope's 82nd birthday. Just, it's amazing how they do this stuff, but they do. And again, you know these base ciphers, you can see all the riddles. Don't forget, JFK was the 35th president, the only Catholic one, dead at age 46. 46 books in the Catholic Old Testament. But Michigan 46, where Jake Butt went. Denver Broncos 71, where he got drafted, 145th pick. And then right after his coach shakes hands with the Pope. You see? And then he gets injured on the Jesuit order's birthday, supposedly. You know? By the way, from Jake Butt's birthday to his supposed injury was 78 days, Jesuit 78, on the Jesuit order's birthday. Isn't it sick? Wikipedia had his name edited to Jake Dick Butt for about 2 weeks during the time of the draft and for 2 weeks after. Jake Dick Butt, which should remind you of the name Dick Buttkiss, which is probably a sick joke in itself as well. Have to go back and look. But this is what you're witnessing when you watch football. From the preseason to the regular season, it's all synced up. It's all rigged the same way. And can't express it enough. People have no idea how sick it is. So, again, We talked about the Scottish Rite. We talked about the Jesuits. Don't forget the Scottish Rite and the Jesuit. They share the same motto with the 32nd degree. With regards to the 32nd degree, NFL is also 32. Whoops. So is America. Scottish Rite, 78. Jesuit, 78. These are the big powers in this nation. These are the big powers over the world of sports as well. And I don't think there's anything in the world that controls the mind's eye of the masses anymore than these rigged sports games. So, we'll leave it there, Truth Seeker. Till next time.